This is my last cruise through the UPS center. It's pretty dead right now. Alright guys, so yeah, I just picked up my last check at the center. So I'll talk about everything when I do the vlog, alright guys? But yeah, this is my last ride out of the center. I didn't really go to the center all that much this year, so I'll say. Just like last year, we didn't really go here all that much, but I will talk about it in the vlog. But anyway, yeah, I just picked up my last paycheck, so alright, HadesOmega out. Alright, HadesOmega here. It's December 27th, and yesterday was kind of my last day at UPS, alright guys? So this is the end of peak season vlog, alright? So if you haven't watched the start of peak season, alright, the whole hiring and stuff, I'm not going to go over it, okay guys? I'm just going to go over how working during peak season was. Okay guys? So peak season 2025, alright? So I worked for Morgan Hill Center, alright? This is my first time working in the Morgan Hill Center, and I hope it's the last time. Okay? I've been working at the Almaden Center for like the whole time. I've been like more than like 5 years, alright? And this is my first time working at the Morgan Hill Center. The one thing to note is that the UPS moves the routes around all the time, okay? So these routes I've worked at Almaden before, and then now Morgan Hill has it, all right? Just because the center's name is Morgan Hill doesn't mean that we're only work in Morgan Hill, all right? I guess they do some at Gilroy. I'm not sure, man, but Morgan Hill is like south of San Jose, okay? And I was working in the 95136 area, okay? That's where they put me. And they had me helping a driver. Her name was Rosie, okay? It was Rosie and her son Adrian, all right? So her son was so what she told me is her son is her driver helper, all right? And he works in the center, all right? So he works in the center loading, I think he loads the trucks or something, or he does something in the center, all right, guys? So he helps her out as a driver helper for the season. So that was the team that I was on, all right? It was me, Rosie, and her son Adrian, and we were working in the 95136 area. If you know where Branham and Skyway is, I worked in that neighborhood, all right, guys? That's the neighborhood I worked in. Last year I worked in like Empire, all right? That kind of Empire area near downtown, all right? So we're totally different part of the map this time, all right? And it's not, I've delivered packages all over San Jose, okay guys? All over San Jose and then some, all right? So it's not a big deal. So it's kind of nice neighborhood, is what I want to say. It's in the 136 areas. It's kind of like, that's the area I first started delivering packages in when I first started doing package delivery jobs, is what I want to say. It was just residential stuff, all right? Really easy stuff, okay? It's kind of like similar to where I live in Eastside San Jose, all right? Yeah, so I worked it's kind of like a well-off neighborhood. It's residential. Even the houses are similar to where I live in the Berryessa area, okay, guys? They have similar houses out there. It's kind of crazy. And yeah, so it was, it was a pretty nice neighborhood. Not the super nice neighborhood. I think the first route that I did was one of those, you scan your own routes type of thing, all right, guys? And they had me working in the Almaden Valley, all right? But after that, they attached me to Rosie, all right, and we were working in that 136 area, okay, guys, and I worked in that area for pretty much the rest of the time, all right, guys. So how busy was it? So I'll say, all right. So last year, it was not very busy, okay, guys, and this year was pretty much the same story, okay, guys. It started out. When I first started, it was slow, all right, and then it would ramp up a little bit, and then 1 week it peaked, okay, guys. One week was like super busy. Like Saturday was busy. I worked 6 days, and I managed to get some overtime, and then poof, it just kind of went downhill from there, all right, guys. So it was like not so busy, and then it got really busy, and then it kind of plateaued, and then it went downhill from there. Okay, guys. So, and yeah, so my last day was surprise Christmas Eve. All right, guys. It's the same story every year, except this year they told us that they didn't need us anymore. Okay, so that's a good thing about the Morgan Hill Center. They tell their drivers, all right, they tell the SSDs, all right, the seasonal support drivers, when the last day of work is, all right, and it was Christmas Eve. They said like, oh, the reasoning was in the text message. So yes, the center does send text message every day, all right, about what's going on with the center, all right, like are we busy, how busy we are. Okay, we kind of did that last year too, okay, and it was just, yeah, it was just kind of disappointing. It just wasn't super busy all the time. Okay, guys, at the peak, I think I was doing about 70 on my route. I was doing about 70 stops. All right, which is good. That's perfect. All right, if it could be like 70 stops every day, that's a good amount of work. Like HadesOmega mentioned in the other video, my goal was to get 5 hours a day, and with 70 stops, I can squeak out 5 hours a day. All right, maybe if I sandbag a little bit. All right, so yes, I had to do a lot of sandbagging to get the hours I wanted. Man, let's basically take it easy. All right, guys. It was very hard to get extra work after thing. Okay, guys. After the peak season peaked, it was very hard to get extra work. All right. So one thing I don't like about the Morgan Hill Center is that they never answer the text messages. Okay. Last year when I worked for Almaden, they were pretty much on the ball with the text messages. If I sent the text message on the MDA, they would answer like within like at least like 20 minutes or something. Okay, guys. And the Morgan Hill Center, I would send a text message and I would wait there, and then I would probably send another text message maybe 10 minutes later, and then maybe 30 minutes later, and then I would just wait, and then an hour goes by, and then, you know what, I'm just gonna just punch out now. Okay, so that's what they want, that's what they told us to do. All right, guys, they told us to send a message to the center and tell them, hey, I'm done, what do you want me to do? And they gotta tell, there's one of two things that'll happen. One, you can get more work. All right, you can help another driver, or maybe your driver needs some help. All right, and then or you just punch out. All right, they'll say, oh, nobody needs help, there's no extra work, just punch out. All right, and then so I would get crickets. All right, guys, nothing. All right, they wouldn't answer at all, and I would just be twiddling my thumbs waiting for like an hour. At least I'm getting paid, right? Waiting for an hour, not doing anything, and then I would just return. Either I would do one of two things: return the MDA, the phone, and my ticket. All right, the time card ticket. All right, back to the driver, or I would take it back to the center. Right, towards the end of the peak season, I started just going back to the center. Right. So the route that I was doing, it was, I don't know, it's got to be like 10 miles from where I live. All right, so it's quite a distance. All right, it's South San Jose. All right, guys, it's to my benefit to drive back to the center and then return the phone. So that's what you would do if your driver wasn't out there. You would take it back to the guard shack. All right, and they would have like a box. All right, so if you had any extra packages, all right, so let's say you had a package that you didn't that you attempted. All right, you attempted, but you couldn't deliver it, right, because you need a signature for it, or they need an adult signature, and then nobody was home. Then you would have to take that back to, either the driver, or you take it back to the center. All right, guys, and it was pretty much like last year. They didn't let you in the building at all. Okay, guys. It used to be they let SSDs in the building all the time. The first time I did it, that's all we did. We just came back to the building, and then we were done. All right, and then as the years go by, they stopped letting us go in the building altogether. Right, so every once in a while they'll let us into the building if there's work in the building. All right, if there's packages to be scanned and delivered, then they would let us in the building, and we only did that when it was really busy, the peak of the peak season. All right, guys, that's the only time we did that. All right, guys, other times we would never go in. I would never go in the building. All right, guys, it was the guard shack is the farthest I'd get to getting inside the building. All right, and then so they'll have a bin there that'll you put your trip ticket or your time card and your MDA in, and then any extra packages that you had left over after the route. All right, and then or you would give it back to your driver. But like I said, it's more beneficial for me to drive back to the center, because the center, I don't know, it's about like 3 miles from where I'm delivering, so I'll get extra 3 miles of pay to go back. All right, they'll pay me to drive back, and then it takes like what 15-20 minutes. Yeah, usually when I'm off of my route, it's like traffic time, so it takes a long time to get back because there's all this traffic. I was take my sweet time getting back. It would usually take about 20 minutes to get back, so it would add an extra 20 minutes onto my paycheck. So why not? All right, and then I'd be closer to home. All right, and yeah, so I'd be closer to home too. So I'd make more money going back, and then I'd be closer to home. Okay, so it's less of a cost to me to go back to the building. All right. Last year was the opposite. All right, guys. I worked someplace really close to where I live, so it's just like it's more beneficial for me to give the phone back to the driver so I can just go home right away. It's because the home is like a mile away or something, not far at all. Okay, so so there was that. So I was working like at a route that was not near home. Okay, guys. So that kind of sucked, but towards the end of the season, I would just tell my driver, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the building. And then another way to gauge how busy it is when you go back to return the phone, you look in the little bin and you see how many other phones and cards are in there. So usually when I come back, there'd be like 5 or 6, and I'd know like, oh yeah, you're finished about the right time, Merlin. If you're like, you put your phone in there and there's only like 1 or 2 phones in there, you know, like, oh shit, well, it seems like it's really busy at other routes. A lot of the drivers are still out there. Okay, so you can kind of gauge how busy it is that day, right? But they'll tell you, right? But yeah, so like I mentioned, it was slow at first, and then it ramped up, and then it peaked, all right, and it plateaued, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. All right, guys, it was definitely a bell curve, all right, is what's going on, all right. And we'll take a look at my paycheck, all right. We'll see how much I made. I always go over how much I made every year, and I did pretty good this year because because I worked early. Okay, guys. Last year I worked late. All right. I didn't start working until after Black Friday. All right. You want to try to get in there before Black Friday. I started at the beginning of November. All right, but it took a long time for me to actually get started working. All right, it took like 2 weeks or something. All right, but the sooner you get in there, the better is what I say. All right, okay, so I'll talk about the route a little bit. Like I previously said, it was in the 136 area, and it was kind of like a nice residential neighborhoods. All right, there's some parking. Okay, is what I want to say. some places are easier to park than others. All right, type of thing, and yeah, I would get like 40 stops. And they moved me around a little bit. All right, I noticed some days I would be doing some stuff kind of in the northern part of the route, and then they started moving me to the south. So I don't know, man. So one thing I'm gonna mention about the routes is that like every year they're gonna put you somewhere different, and it's just kind of random. All right, it's kind of random, and I think it's kind of dependent on the size of your vehicle, because they ask you what size of vehicle you have in the beginning. All right, guys. And they'll put you in like a route, all right. And the more rich neighborhoods that you deliver to, the more deliveries you're gonna have, all right. It's what's that, right? It's I'm not gonna lie, all right, guys. The more kind of ghetto neighborhoods, they don't buy as much stuff, okay, guys? So there's not going to be as much deliveries, all right? So you're going to want to get one of those nice routes, all right, guys? And in previous years, I've gotten really nice routes, and like, yeah, people order like a lot of stuff, right? But sometimes it's kind of too much, all right? At its busiest, all right, like I said, I was getting 70 stops, and then when it's like kind of normal, all right, or they try to get me like 40 stops, all right? I'm not gonna lie, 40 stops, I can bang that out in like 2 hours. All right, guys, I can bang that out in 2 hours. Maybe like I could maybe stretch it out to 3 hours if I take my sweet time. All right, guys, but then but 70 stops is perfect. I can stretch 70 stops out to like 5 hours, and that's perfect. All right, 5 hours is perfect because it's long enough where you making the maximum amount of money without having to take a lunch. Okay, guys, if you have to take a lunch, then it takes a long time, and then by the time if you're at SSD and you're taking a lunch, by the time you're done taking a lunch, it's dark already, and you don't want to deliver packages when it's dark. All right, guys. I did deliver packages when it was dark though. So there was one week it was super busy. On a Saturday, I came in. And what was it? So I'll talk about the busiest week, all right, guys? It was Saturday, and it's super busy, man. There's a lot of thing going on, and they had me go to the warehouse. I think I did my route, and they had me go into the warehouse, and then deliver packages, all right, deliver packages, and then I was out there maybe up until like 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock delivering packages, because I think they had me help another driver. Yeah, there was a driver out there in trouble or something. They had like 200 stops or something. And they're like, yeah, we just been delivering apartments all day. So yeah, I did that. And then all I can say is it's when it's busy, it's time to work. All right, I know it's like it's tough. It's really tough because you're tired and you want to go home. All right. But yeah, I think I got like a whole bunch of overtime that day, and then throughout I worked like a 6-day week after that, and I think I did get I think I was managed to get extra work for like a day or two, and then I did close to like 100 stops. I think the most I did was like maybe like 120 stops or something, somewhere around there. All right. 120 stops is a lot for SSD, okay, guys? If you're SSD and you're doing 120 stops, you're making a lot of money, all right? You're making a lot of money and you're delivering a lot of packages, all right, guys? 120 stops is like a whole day. You're out there all day delivering packages, okay, guys? Because, yeah, you got to take a lunch and then you got to take another break and all that stuff. Yeah, man, it's but it's a good money, all right, guys? But it's really, really tiring, all right? That's why I think like 5 hours a day is fine, you know? It's just enough where like, yeah, man, I'm tired. I'm going to go home and then go to sleep and then wake up and do it again, all right? But when you do those long days, you wake up the next day and you're just like, man, I'm really tired. I'm tired from yesterday, you know, that type of thing, okay? So like I mentioned in previous videos, you got to get those package delivery muscles back, all right? So I think the first couple of weeks were the roughest, man. I just feel like extremely tired at the end of the day, like, and then after a while, you kind of get used to it, okay, guys? I remember one week, it's just like, yeah, it's already slow. It's already after the peak season peaked, and you're just feeling like, yeah, man, you're just delivering packages, and then, like, you're not even thinking about it, right? You're just out there delivering, and, but yeah, I still feel tired at the end of the day, all right? So, I'm not gonna lie, this job, it gets harder every year. Peak season delivering packages, it gets more difficult every year, okay, guys? I'm getting older and I can't do this anymore. If I wanted to be like a UPS driver all year long, I couldn't do it, okay, guys? It's just I'm just not physically. It's not that I'm not physically fit enough to do it. It's just like, yeah, man, my body's old, tired, and broken type of thing. All right, guys. I can't physically do it. All right, that's the problem. All right, when I was younger, yeah, I could have probably done it, okay, but not no more, and yeah, so the ship has sailed type of thing, all right, but I'm fine with doing it once a year, okay, guys, so yeah, so there's that, so yeah, it did get easier as it went along, but I was still really tired at the end of the day, you know, and so what typical day for me. All right, so here's what a typical day for me would be. I would set my alarm for 8 o'clock, and the text message they send the message out anywhere from like 7 to 8:30. Okay, so you want to wake up around 8 o'clock. All right, and one day I even overslept. My phone ran out of charge and it didn't turn on, and I was like, oh shit. Okay, but I managed to wake up and tell them, hey, I'm still working, all right? So they're gonna send you a text message every day, all right? They're even gonna ask you. They might ask you like the night before, like if you're gonna work or not, all right, or if you're gonna work on Saturday. Okay, so Saturdays are optional, all right. I did not work 3 days. Okay, guys. 3 days. So I had 2 races in December. All right, I never have motorcycle. If you guys don't know, HadesOmega is an amateur motorcycle racer. Okay, I race supermoto motorcycles. And I've never had this before where I've had racing in December. All right, guys. Usually, racing ends like in November. All right, guys, for the last races. And yeah, man, it was. I had 2 races. One of them I had to take 2 days off. All right, so I took the Friday and a Saturday off. And I just told them like, hey, I'm not going to work Friday or Saturday through the text message thing. Okay, the phone text message. Okay, not the MDA. And then I had another race the next weekend. I couldn't work on the Saturday. Okay, guys. So I mean, it's just your best. It's in your best interest to work as much as you can. All right, guys. If you can, if you're available, all right, guys, you should work every day because you're just not. Then one day you're just not going to work anymore. Okay, like, and that day was a couple days ago, Christmas Eve. All right, guys. So yeah, wake up 8 o'clock. Look to see if there's a text message. If there's no text message, just kind of wait for it, and then it's gonna tell you what your route is, where you're gonna meet the driver, and how, the time that you're gonna meet your driver. Okay, most of the time I would meet my driver, or I would meet Rosie at 10:45. Okay, guys, that's and it would be at the McDonald's. All right, but me and Rosie communicate with each other, all right, and she doesn't want to meet at McDonald's because it kind of gets busy there, especially around the holiday season. So there's no parking, and it's hard to load the vehicle. Okay, guys. So we would meet at 200 Edenvale, all right, the Hayes Mansion, all right, in in South San Jose. There's a big park there, all right. There's a big park there with the big parking lot, and so we would go there, and then that's where I would meet her to load the packages into my vehicle. Okay, guys. Anyway, so yeah, at 8 o'clock around 8 o'clock you get that text message, all right, before or after 8 o'clock, and then you got like an hour to respond, all right, and then you put yes or no, all right, whether you can work or not. So I would put yes, and then it would give you like some kind of tip of the day, and then like you're good to go, all right. So, and then typically what happens is Rosie will text me before, maybe like a little less than an hour before we're supposed to meet, and tell her and just confirm with me like, yeah, we're gonna meet at Edenvale, all right, at 10:45, all right. So we're like on the same page, right? And I would just put like a thumbs up emoji or something, okay, and then I would go back to sleep. That's what I would do, all right, guys. I would go back to sleep, and then so to get to my meeting spot, all right, to where I meet the driver at 10:45, I have to leave at 10:20, all right. So I would set my alarm for like 9:45, 9:50, somewhere around that time, all right. And then I would go back to sleep, and then I wake up, get ready, and then go, all right, guys. I make sure my vehicle's all charged up. I have a plug-in hybrid, and I'll talk about that in a minute, all right, guys. Then I would meet Rosie on at our meeting place, and then we would load the packages, all right. Typically I would get the 7,000s and the 8,000s shelf. Okay, guys, if you guys don't know how the truck is laid out, all right, they have different shelves in the truck, all right, guys. And they're sorted by HIN numbers, all right. That's the number, all right. The 7,000 and the 8,000, all right. So there's some bigger trucks that got more shelves than that, all right, guys. But they would assign me the 7,000s and 8,000s out of that truck, okay, guys. Typically what I would do is take the 7,000s, right? I would take all the 7,000 packages out, as much as I can put in, all right, guys. And so if I have all the 7,000 packages in my vehicle, I'll ask her, let's say it's a slow day, there's not a lot of packages, or the packages are kind of small that day. I'll ask her, give me some of the 8,000s, and I'll throw them in the back, and then when I'm done with the 7,000s, I'll sort them later, because there's just a lot of stuff in the car right now, okay? And then I would deliver the 8,000s after. But typically I would just take the 7,000s, all right? Some days I couldn't take them all, all right? Some days I have like really big packages and they won't fit in there. There's one of two things that'll happen. All right. I let Rosie says she'll deliver it. All right, because she's got the big truck. If it's a really big item, like that, it's easier for the driver to deliver it for you. Okay, guys. So either you let the driver deliver that, or you come back later and you deliver it. You say, hey, I'll take all that extra. So what I do is like I sweep the rest of my route. Right. That's basically what I do. All right, guys. That's usually the third run. All right, guys. But anyway, the 7,000s would come in. All right, you put the 7,000s in the car. I would load it up. I put the small stuff in the front, and then the kind of the boxes in the back, and I would load it up from number order to lower numbers to the higher numbers. Right, just be organized. All right, just know where the stuff is. All right, because I'll tell you this, man. When your car is filled to the top with packages, man, it is hard to find shit. Okay, guys. And you know what the center tells us? They tell us fill it up only halfway. I'm like, bullshit, man. You know what? You want to fill your vehicle all the way, all right? You don't want to keep on going back and forth to the truck. It's just a huge freaking waste of time for you and the driver to do that, all right, guys? Fill your car up all the way, okay, guys? I don't care if I can't see out the back. That's why I have freaking mirrors and I have a backup camera, man. All right, the trucks you can't see outside the back, all right? So why should we have to see? All right, so there's that, all right, guys. I would cram packages anywhere I could in the car, all right? And most of the time, I'd be able to put most of them. You would be surprised how much stuff you can fit in a RAV4, man. My driver was impressed by how much stuff. Those if you played Tetris, man, those Tetris skills, they come in handy at this point, all right, guys? You gotta put the boxes here and there, all right? Sometimes I would put the lower numbers on top of everything else because I knew I was going to deliver them first, okay? So you got to be strategic on how, and even then it still takes a long time to find stuff, all right, guys? It's always that last package you're looking for, and the last place that you look is where the package is, all right, guys? Yeah, and then so, okay, one thing that they did different this year, all right, or at least maybe they do different in the Morgan Hill Center, is they give you a manifest, all right? They print out your whole manifest on a sheet of paper. So literally it has all the addresses and how many you got to deliver for that address, that type of thing. It's very handy because for packages that you have to leave behind, all right? Let's say this 7,000 package, too big. So you got to leave it in the truck, all right, guys? So you can ask them, look at the address, and then look at the address on your manifest that they give you, and then what I got is a highlighter, all right? Before I was using a pen, so another handy thing to have is a highlighter, okay, guys? Highlight the address on the manifest that you don't have the package, so you know when you get there to either skip it or just remember to skip it, or if that address has more than one delivery, but you have it, just note that you're not going to have all the packages, okay? So you're not there just digging around looking for it, all right? And it saves a ton of time, all right, guys? Before what I would do is I would just write the address down on a piece of paper, okay, guys? But this makes it easier. It's already printed for you, all right? And you just look it on the highlighter, okay? So that's one thing I did like about the Morgan Hill Center. They print out the whole manifest for you. If you ask me, it's kind of a waste of paper, but I mean, we could just do it the old way and just write down all the addresses, which is be fine, but that's okay. All right. Yeah. And then they would even tell you the HIN number and everything. So yeah. Okay. So, and then I would deliver that 7,000. Typically, one shelf will take me 2 to like 3 hours. All right. Some days it would be like really offset. All right. Some days I would have like 40 stops. Yeah, let's say I had 70 stops total. I would have like 40 stops or 45 stops in the 7,000s, and then I have like only like 25 or 30 stops in the 8,000s. All right. So it would be like really skewed. All right. So like the 7,000s would take like 3 hours to do. And then the 8,000s will only take 2 hours to do, okay? So anyway, we go deliver it, all right, guys? And then when you're done with everything, if there's any extra boxes that you left on the truck, I tell Rosie, hey, I'm going to go get the boxes, and then we meet up again, and then I grab the rest of the stuff, and I deliver it, and I tell her, okay, I'll let you know what happens when I'm done delivering this. So typically what happens at the end of my route, all right, guys? So after I deliver the 7,000s, And remember, I said I snack throughout the day, so make sure you're eating. Make sure you're eating enough, right? Because this job is physical, all right, guys, and you need calories, all right. So typically, what I do is I would do deliver the 7,000s, and then I would call Rosie, and then we'd meet again, and then I would take the 8,000s as much as I can of the 8,000s, right? And then I would take a break, all right? I would take a long break, like a 15, 20-minute break. All right, and there's the park that we met at the beginning of the day. Well, what I found out is that you'll figure this out on your route eventually, where all the bathroom spots are. Okay, guys, there's a park there, and it's got a restroom. All right, so if I have to go pee, I know to go there. All right, guys. Yes, there's a McDonald's and there's a Panda Express where you could probably use the bathroom, but this is a public bathroom, all right. It's always open, so it's not the cleanest, all right. But hey, at least I can go, do number 1, number 2, and then wash my hands, all right. So that's what I would do. I would go to the park, all right. I would park. There's this little opening. I found out there's an opening in the fence, and I was like, there's an opening there. I was wondering how these guys get to these tennis courts because the parking lot is way over there, and there's an opening in the fence that you can park there. And then you can go there, and you can get to the tennis courts really easy, all right? And the bathroom is really close to there, okay, guys? So I would take my bathroom break, all right, guys? Because I'll tell you this, man. If you're trying to deliver packages and you're having to go pee or something, it's not a good feeling, all right, guys? So anyway, I would, if I can hold it, all right, guys? If I can hold it, I would do it after, when I take that break, all right, guys? So I would take a 15, 20-minute break. I would bring some kind of meal with me, okay, guys? This year I started eating soup, all right? Soup out of a can. Those Campbell soups that are only like $2. Yeah, I would do that. What I found out is that chicken soup is really good when it's cold, all right? If it's warm or cold, the chicken soup still tastes good, all right? So that there's a tip, guys. There, if you like those Campbell's chicken soups, man, they are the bomb diggity when it's cold, all right, guys. Because you wouldn't have anywhere to heat it up, all right? And it's typically pretty cold. It's the wintertime, all right, guys? So yeah, I would eat that, or I would bring like a sandwich or something, and then I would take a break, all right, guys? It's important to take breaks on your route, okay, guys? You can't just keep on delivering packages because you'll get burnt out, all right, guys? I'll tell you that, man. So yeah, I would take a nice break after I'm done taking the 8,000s because I would know, like, yeah, man, like just load the stuff up and then take a break. And then that way you'll feel refreshed for the next section, okay, guys? And then yeah, I take a break, and then I deliver the 8,000s, and then I would after I'm done delivering everything, I would tell Rosie, hey, I'm done. I'm gonna go message the center if there's more work, all right? And what I would do is I would message the center on the MDA, and nothing. I wouldn't get any replies, all right? Every once in a while, I'll get a reply. One time I got a reply, stand by, all right? And then that was it. They didn't say anything. Or I was like, and then I would wait like 20 minutes, and then I would say, okay, I'm out of here, man. I'm waiting for you guys. All right. They want you to text message them. All right. They want you to message them before you go. You punch out. All right. Just in case there's more work or something. All right. But typically, what would happen is I would send a message, and they would never answer. Okay, guys. And I would wait for up to like an hour sometimes. All right. I would wait an hour. Then, hey, I get paid an extra hour, man. It's extra $38 in my pocket, right? And then I would tell Rosie, hey, they're not answering. I'll just give you the phone, all right? Or I would I'll tell Rosie, hey, I'm going back to the building, all right? I'm done, so I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see. And yeah, and so I would just go back to the building and punch out, all right? And yeah, I would do the same thing. If you had extra packages left over, bring them back to the guard shack and then punch out, all right? And then usually what I would do is after I'm done punching out, I will convert my car back to a passenger car, all right? I'll take all the delivery stuff, I'll put it in the back, all right? The hand truck, put everything in the back, and I would turn my Uber on, all right? And then I would just Uber back, all right? Sometimes I can make like $30, $40 going back home, all right? So it works out, all right? I make a little extra money on the way home for, other than, if I just waste, I would just drive home, not make any money, at least I'm making some money trying to get home. Yeah, it takes me longer to get home, but still. Okay, and then I would convert the car back to a package delivery car at the end of the night, plug it in. All right, I have a plug-in hybrid. Typically, I would not use any gas at all. I would, so what I would do is when I have to hop on the freeway to get to the route, all right, to save as much electric charge as I could, because I like to deliver with in just all electric mode, all right, guys. I don't like delivering in the hybrid mode because the engine turns on all the time. It's kind of annoying. And so I would drive there in hybrid mode, right? And it would turn the gas engine on, right? That's the only gas I would use just in the morning. And also so I could run the heater. Some days were really, really cold, okay, guys? Yeah, I would wear this. I would wear like an underwear, okay, guys? So if it's really cold where you're delivering, this helps, all right? Like a Under Armour or like a tights or something. One day I forgot them and I realized, you know what? I feel kind of cold today. Okay, some days, yeah, it'll feel cold, then it'll warm up, and then yeah, you'll be sweating a lot. All right, so yeah, just dress in layers, okay, guys. Yeah. So that would be like a typical day for me, okay, guys. Working with Rosie. In the beginning, I would be able to get some extra work. All right, I think I helped 2 other drivers out. All right, 2 or 3. Yeah, I think 3 or 4 drivers or something. And then there was one day that Rosie was like sick or something, so I was working with this other driver that I never worked with, and we had to wait. We had to meet up at the McDonald's, all right. And he was all like, "Man, you're fast." I was like, "Yeah, I'm fast." All right. Also, so another thing is stops per hour. All right, the Spore. All right, I think I talked about it in the previous video. All right, don't go off of that bullshit, man, because if you wait at the end of your route and you're not delivering packages, it screws up your Spore, okay, guys? Like, I don't really care about that, man. They can't, like, I mean, maybe they use it as a basis to give you more work. I don't know, man. They said, like, if you were a high-performing SSD, then they would give you more work. I call that bullshit, man. They just kept me on the same route the whole time, you know. Typically, I was above the Spore also, okay? Some days I would be like, the stops per hour goal is like 13. I would be like 13 or 14 or 15 or something, okay? It's totally dependent on your route, okay, guys? If you have, like last year, the route I had was near downtown San Jose, and like the neighborhood wasn't so nice, all right? But the houses were small, all right? So you could stop somewhere and do like 5 deliveries in one stop, all right, guys? Like, you go boom, 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 all delivered, all right? At this stop, in the neighborhoods that I was working this time, you might be lucky to do 2 or 3 deliveries in one stop, but like if there's one delivery that's like 2 houses over, it's a significant walk over to the other house. You don't want to walk that. You want to drive it, okay? So that's the difference between delivering in really nice neighborhoods and really not very nice neighborhoods, okay, guys? The houses are smaller. It's easier to deliver. So your Spore will be like through the roof, all right, guys? You'll be able to deliver so many packages so fast because your area is dense, okay, guys? The area I wasn't working in is not, like, I would say it's like medium, all right, guys? I've seen way worse, all right? I've had one where you deliver to one house, and then the next delivery is the next house over, but the next house over is like a long ways. It's like you got to drive like 50 feet to get over there, so you don't want to walk that, all right, guys? This route, you could still kind of walk deliveries. Most of the time, I would walk the deliveries if it wasn't too far, okay, guys? Is what I'm going to say, all right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of how typically a day of delivering on the route was for me this year in 2025. Okay, and then I would, most of the time I wouldn't get extra work. Okay, it kind of sucks. They never answer the phone. Maybe they want you to call the center. I'm not sure. They gave you an option to call the center, but my phone doesn't call very well sometimes. Okay, guys, I have to restart the phone and then call. All right, I would. And then when you call and some other people are calling, you get the busy signal. So it's better to just send a text message, all right? But I would send text message every 10 minutes. They still wouldn't answer, okay, guys? So the Morgan Hill Center has to fix that, man. That's a bunch of bullshit, all right, guys? And what I heard from my driver last year, all right, he told me that they're trying to get away from using smartphones to communicate with each other. They want you to use the instant message feature on the MDAs, okay, guys? Because the MDA is provided by the company, all right? So you're not having to use your phone, your equipment, all right, to do deliveries, right? But of course, this for seasonal drivers, you don't really have a choice, all right, guys? But yeah. So they should be using the text message system. So I don't know, man. Maybe that's the way Morgan Hill does it. They just don't answer, all right? So it just kind of sucks. They just leave you hanging dry. If they, if they answered, it would just be like, okay, just go ahead and punch out. Or, oh yeah, we got some more work from you. Hold on, let me get an address for you to meet the driver, all right, type of thing. Okay, and they can't even do that. Okay, guys, the Morgan Hill Center is kind of ate up. All right, that's what I'm saying. All right, guys, I don't want to work for Morgan Hill anymore, man. I want to work for Almaden. All right, hopefully I'll get Almaden in 2026. Okay, guys. Okay, so that's pretty much how it was. All right, guys. And then so yeah, we would get text messages every day, kind of telling us like how is it they're expecting it to be busy the next day, or they're not expecting it to be busy. Or maybe there's going to be rain tomorrow. All right, the weather was really cold for a while, and then it kind of warmed up, and then we kind of got a little bit of rainy weather right now. Like as I'm shooting this video, we got a ton of rainy weather, right? But I already got laid off, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, guys. So in those days, I would bring a parka. Okay, I don't have it with me. Yeah, I would bring a parka. Okay, guys, like a rain jacket. All right, so make sure you got one of those handy. If it rains really hard, you're going to want one, okay? HadesOmega's delivered packages in, like, pouring rain, and it's no fun, all right, guys? It's no fun if you're all wet, too. And you don't have a choice. You're not in a big truck that, like, can protect you from the rain. You're kind of like, you're sticking your butt out the car looking for packages, and your back is going to get wet. Big time, all right, guys? I know what it feels like. And then the packages get all wet and stinky, all right? Fortunately, I did not have to go through that at all this year, right? I managed to, if it did rain, like, the ground would be wet, but, like, it wouldn't be raining, okay, guys? So it would rain, and then it would just stop, all right? So I lucked out this year. We didn't have bad weather, okay, guys? For the most part, it was pretty good weather. The best weather to deliver in is overcast, all right, overcast weather, all right. It's cloudy and cool, and you're not getting scorched by the sun delivering the packages, but it's not cold or rainy, okay. So that's the best, all right. I love that's the best conditions to deliver packages in overcast weather, okay, guys. All right, so that was it up until Christmas, all right. Like I said, last week and this week were super slow, man. I would just get 40, maybe 50 stops a day, all right? And they would kind of move me around on the route a little bit. I would have a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, on the route. Because typically I'd be doing this stuff in the middle, right? But sometimes they have me do a little more here or a little more here, all right? Just think of the map, all right? How the map looks like, all right, guys, of the neighborhood. Yeah, one time, my driver's truck broke down, all right? The starter on her truck stopped working, so they had to call a mechanic out. And so she gave me the rest of her packages, all right? I got to deliver everything, all right? And then one day, my driver was pretty busy, and so she gave me a part of her route, like a trailer park, all right, guys? And I told her, like, yeah, I can do trailer parks. Have you done Magic Sands? Remember I did a Magic... I think I talked about in the other video, I delivered Magic Sands trailer park, and it was freaking awful, guys. I did it at night, all right, and it was freaking awful because that trailer park, you can't find anything. Like, you have to take a picture of the map or else you would get lost in there, okay, guys? So there's a trailer park on our route that she gave me, all right, and she gave me like 30 stops, 30 packages or something, and I delivered them in the trailer park, and it wasn't hard at all right, so that was a good thing. And yeah, her truck broke down one day, so she wound up just giving me the rest of her packages, and I delivered them, okay, guys? So that's a good reason to have SSDs, all right, is to help the driver out, all right? That's what we're there for. We're there to help the driver out, okay, guys? So they're not overburdened with so many packages. Man, I don't know how, one Saturday, they sent, like, I think my driver said, like, oh, she might need some help, and they sent like 6 or 7 or 8 drivers to get stuff, and I was like, oh shit, well, I guess I'm not gonna have any extra work today because these guys are taking it from me, man. I was like, ah, damn it, all right. But it turns out I actually did get extra work that day. I went back to the warehouse and scanned packages. Okay, so there was that. There's a couple instances where I got extra work, is what I'm telling you. Okay, guys. And but for the most part, last week, no, I didn't get any extra work, and it was just like easy stuff, like 40, 50 stops. All right, I finished it in like 3. I tried to stretch it out to 4 hours. All right, trying to get it to 5, but 4 or 5 hours. I'm trying to stretch that out. All right, but it's really difficult. Okay, guys, I have to go really slow. All right, take lots of breaks. That type of thing. All right, and yeah, on days like that. Well, on days like that, you got to try to get more work, but there's just, I know they're not going to give me more work, so yeah. Okay, guys. So it was slow up until pretty much Christmas Eve. Okay, guys, and then on Christmas Eve, I said, hey, sorry, I think this is probably going to be the last time I see you guys. So Merry Christmas. I knew. Oh, you know what? I heard from my driver. That's how I learned that we were going to get canned on the 24th. All right, guys. My driver told me. She told me that I guess the center told her they had like a meeting, before all the trucks go out or something, and they said they weren't going to use SSDs until anymore after the 24th. So that's how I learned. That's how I learned. Like, yep, and I was like, yep, that's right. I told you. Every Christmas Eve they cut you loose, all right, type of thing, right? It's like Merry Christmas, we don't need your help, and then they don't let the door hit you on the way out, type of thing, all right? That type of thing. They just boot you out of the UPS, all right, guys? That's how it is every year, and this year was no exception, all right, guys? But this year, I think I got a text message on the week of Christmas, and they said that what was it? They said that they said that it's been slow this year, so they're not going to use the SSDs after the 24th. Okay, guys. So they did tell us that we weren't going to get any more work. Every year before that, all right, I'll tell you this. Every year before that, nothing. They don't tell you anything. Okay, guys. On the 24th is the last day, and then you get the day off, right? Because the next day is Christmas, and then you don't hear anything from the center at all. Okay, guys. Like maybe you could probably text them or something, and they'll just tell you, sorry, no work. Or whatever, man, but nothing. They just ghost you, okay, guys? But the one thing I did like about the Morgan Hill Center is, yes, they did tell us, hey, you guys aren't going to be working anymore, all right? So that's good, all right? At least they don't leave you hanging, all right, guys? You're not wondering whether you're still gonna have work or not, because the little placard that they give you says that you're a seasonal helper until the 15th of January, okay? So if it's pretty busy during the season and it continues to be busy, I think they'll still continue to use SSDs. But for the last like half decade, no. Okay, guys. There's only one time that I ever worked past Christmas was the first time I did it. Okay, guys, and that was during the pandemic. Okay, and I think it was pretty busy during the pandemic. All right, guys, and the SSD thing, we weren't even called SSDs, guys. We were called PVDs at the time. All right. Is what I'm gonna say, all right? So it was a different time type of thing, all right, guys. Plus, we didn't even work in that center. We worked in like a building next to the center, and yeah, it was kind of crazy, okay. And the routes were all like kind of crazy and stuff. So, but now it's kind of different. It's just not as busy anymore, okay. So, yeah, and so that was it, all right. And then so they also did something different than last year, all right, or different than the Almaden Center, is that they held my last paycheck. Right here's my last paycheck, guys. Is right here. All right, guys. They hold your last paycheck hostage. Okay, guys. So every year, like after New Year's, right? Sometime after New Year's, they tell you, please turn in your vest to the guard shack or something. All right, guys. Like, yeah, they don't even want to see you, right? Used to be when I worked for UPS as a seasonal delivery driver, all right, when I drove the big brown truck, all right, guys, you would get an exit interview, you would go back into the center, you would go in the center every day, all right, guys, and then on the last day you would talk to like a human resources or something, and they would ask you if you wanted to still work for UPS, or like, hey, you did pretty good. We want to hire you, but not you can't start as a driver like you've been doing right now. They want you to work in the warehouse moving packages and stuff. Okay, and I didn't want to do that. All right, guys. But anyway, used to be they did that. All right, guys, and UPS has changed a whole lot. Basically, they just kick you to the curb. remember how I said this job is very much like gig work? It is very much like gig work, okay, guys? Like, they could just let you go anytime, all right, guys? They're like that, all right, okay? You feel like you're kind of like a second-class citizen or something, okay? That's the feeling I get working as a SSD for UPS right now, okay, guys? Used to be like they would let you in the building. When I first started, they would let you in the building all the time, and then sometimes they would have like a Christmas party or something, and they would let the SSDs, you know, have food in the warehouse and stuff. All it was during COVID too, man. So everyone had to wear a mask and everything. Yeah, they don't do any of that anymore, man. It's just like, thanks for your help, bye. They kick you out the door. Okay, type of thing. Anyway, yes, they held your last check hostage. All right, so I got a message on Christmas saying, hey, pick up your last check. All right, you gotta go to the center, pick up your last check, and then you gotta go turn in your vest and your placard. All right, remember they gave us the placard that tells us that, hey, you're a seasonal driver. So typically I would get a message like that next year, and I would just not go, because what's the point, man? Like you're just it's a waste of my time to go there and give them all their stuff back. So this year I did it. All right, guys. One, I didn't want another one of those freaking vests. I have like 3 of them in my closet, man. It's good to have an extra one, I guess. But so I returned the vest and I returned the placard, all right, the little piece of paper, to the guard check, and then what I had to do was wait, all right, guys. I had to wait. Yeah, I had to wait at the guard check for the manager to show up, all right, and then he brought the box of checks, okay, and then there was like there must have been like 6 or 7 of us waiting there, okay, guys. They didn't tell us what time to go there. I guess we could have gone any time. All right, so I chose like whatever. I'm gonna go at noon, and I rode my motorcycle. Okay, guys, I didn't take the RAV4. All right, I didn't take my package delivery vehicle because we're not delivering packages. All right, guys, I rode my motorcycle there because I knew, like, yeah, I'm just gonna go pick up a check. I'm gonna return the vest and all that stuff and pick up a check. I don't need a car for that. So I rode on down there, and then I waited for I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes for the manager to show up. And then he gave us our checks. Okay, basically we got in a line, and then he asked, "What's your name?" And then he gave you your check. Okay, guys. It was funny. I called it the unemployment line. That's what I called it. That's exactly what it was. It's the unemployment line. So I've never done this before. All right, I get my pay through direct deposit. Okay, guys. So every week they would, around Tuesday or Wednesday, you would get paid. All right. Through as an SSD. I don't know how they do the drivers, man, but as an SSD, I would get paid every week on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then, like, if you wanted to check your pay stubs out, you can go on upsers.com. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a look at my see how much money we made in a little bit. All right, guys. But anyway, so that was it. All right, done. So that's why I'm making this video now. All right, because I know I'm canned. All right, guys, you are canned. All right. You're laid off, all right? Yeah, so December 26th was kind of like the final day, okay, guys? We turned in the vest and the placard, and I exchanged it for my paycheck, and then that's it. We're not doing the SSD gig anymore, all right? So that's the end of it, all right? So how much did I make? We'll find out in the next clip. Okay, I'm just going to hold the camera here, all right, guys? But I'm going to go to the last... this is the last check, yeah? Yeah, okay, this is the last check, all right. I'm gonna keep my personal information out of here, but yeah, you guys can take a look at it. Okay, so here it is. If you're wondering how much HadesOmega made during peak season 2025, there it is. All right, so under earnings here, all right, so it has everything here, all right. You got your regular overtime, all right. Regular was $38 an hour. Overtime is $57 an hour, if you guys are wondering. Orientation time, I don't know what this meal thing is, man. That's a good question. What is that? I don't know what that is. All right, and then this, I don't know what this is either, all right, guys, but I got 14 hours of it. It's the same as the regular time or something. So year to date, all right, so as of the final paycheck, I made just under $6,000, okay, guys? Boom. So that's including the regular time, the overtime. All right, so yeah, there you go. So this is my regular pay, all right? I got $4,000 for regular pay, and I made $1,000, almost $1,200 in overtime. Holy moly, that's pretty good. I got 104 hours of regular time, All right, and then 20 hours, pretty much 20 hours, 19.98 of overtime. Okay, and then so yeah, we got 3 hours of pay for orientation. All right, that was the first day of work. I don't know what this meal thing is. I'm not sure. Okay, and then these are all the taxes I had to pay. Okay, that's a lot of taxes, man. Holy moly, dude! Look at this. We made 6,000 and they took 1,600 from us. So, oh no. This is before taxes. All right, guys. But anyway, they took 1,600 from us. Okay, guys, total. All right. We had to pay this $75 dues, or union dues, is what this is. Okay, and then this is our mileage reimbursement. Okay, so this is the extra stuff. So on my last paycheck, I got 36 bucks, but total, they paid me $350 to use my vehicle to deliver packages. Is $350 worth it to have more wear and tear on your vehicle? I think it's worth it. All right. Like I said, I didn't spend any gas. All right. Typically, I would drive like 10 miles. Okay, guys, that's how much that's how many miles I would drive that I would get paid for, all right? About 10 miles, all right? And if you get like some extra stuff like misloads, all right, guys? Well, I didn't talk about misloads. Yeah, misloads are packages that like they're not supposed to be in the truck, and they're supposed to go to like an area that's not your route, all right, guys? And so that's one way to rack up miles is to do misloads, all right? Like let's say you get one in like, I got a lot of misloads in Los Gatos, okay? So I would drive to Los Gatos, then I have to drive back, and then, yeah, that's how I'd get the overtime, guys, okay? It would take a long time to drive back, all right? So there's that. That's one way to get a lot of miles, okay, guys? But then, yeah, you're going to spend more money. You're going to spend gas, or I'm going to have to charge my car more type of thing, okay? So anyway, it says the net check amount was $4,600, okay, guys? So that's how much after the taxes and all the reimbursements and everything. Okay. So total 6,000, and that's the taxes 1,600. All right. They took 75 bucks, and then that's their mileage reimbursement. Okay, guys. So I took home $4,621. Okay, guys. But it's 6,000 before taxes. Okay, guys. Okay, and so that's HadesOmega's Peak Season 2025 vlog, alright, guys? So yeah, I made 6,000, alright? Let's say 6,000 before taxes, alright? That's with all the overtime and all the stuff, okay? Wait a minute. Oh, that's not plus the reimbursements, though. Yeah, let's say, just say the earnings were 6,000, okay, guys? 1 year, I made 8,000, all right? They put me on a really nice route in like Almaden Valley, all right? And those people are rich down there, okay, guys? And they get a lot of packages, and they gave me a lot of work. So, but that year, I really killed myself that year, okay, guys? I had like a lot of work. I was working a lot, and I was like tired all the time, and I was hurting all the time, okay, guys? This year, I was kind of hurting. Like I said, every year it gets harder for me. My ankles are bad and stuff, and they get swollen and stuff, so I had to take breaks often. Yeah, so I'd still like that, but like I said, I tried, if I can get 5 hours a day, that's fine with me. Okay, so, and for the most part, I was pretty much able to accomplish that, all right? So, my goals for, at the beginning of peak season, were pretty much achieved, okay? I pretty much made got five hours a day. Unfortunately, I had to 2 motorcycle races, so I lost 3 days of work, which kind of sucks. I could have probably made like an extra 500 bucks. Okay, so that's a lot, man. Shit, just because of losing 2 days of work, man. That's a lot of money, man. But I didn't have a choice, man. They moved those races to December because it was raining a lot in November. So yeah, so okay, so that's I think the most I've ever made was 8,000. Last year I didn't make a lot. I'll tell you that, man. So I made way more this year. I made 6,000 this year, so we're just 2,000 shy of that time I made the most. Okay, so 8,000. If you're like a freaking, if you get lucky, all right, you get lucky, you get put on a good route, and then there's like a lot of packages to deliver. All right, the gist of it, guys, is if there's packages to be delivered, you have work to do, and you can make more money. Okay, guys. if the volume is really low, then you got no packages to deliver, and then you just punch out early every day. Okay, guys. So that's the way it is. All right. So it's dependent on your route and how much volume there is for UPS. Okay, guys. If there's not a lot of packages, you're not going to make a lot of money. Okay, guys. Last year was like that. I think the only reason I made more money this year is because I started early. Okay, I started in November. So that's probably what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to look at UPS jobs once November hits. I'm going to start looking at UPS jobs for job openings. Okay, guys. So I can get started as soon as possible. But they didn't start us until the 18th, anyways. Okay, guys. They said they weren't allowed. All right, they weren't allowed to use the SSDs until the 18th. Okay, guys. So, but it's fine. It's better to get your foot in the door right away. So once they can start using the SSDs. Boom! You go start working right away. Okay, guys. And then yeah, I feel that if you do good, they'll probably put you on a better route. Last year they moved my route a little bit. All right. Last year I worked in that place that was close to my home. All right, that area, that neighborhood, and then they had me work in Willow Glen. And Willow Glen, there's some rich people that live in Willow Glen, man, and you can deliver a lot of packages there. So I made a lot of money in the Willow Glen. All right. So the place I worked at this year, so busy. Okay, guys. I liked it. It wasn't too busy, but it wasn't very slow either. Okay, so. It's so all right. That's what I want to say. We could be working somewhere that could make us more money. All right, but maybe you can ask them. Maybe you can ask the manager. Hey, could you put me on a more busy route? All right, but also they attach you to the driver. All right, I worked with Rosie this year, and all I can say is it was a pleasure working with her. All right, she's a nice lady. And like we work a great team, all right? Me, her, and her son. Okay, guys. So they would deliver packages, and I would deliver packages off the back of the truck. If they wanted to give me more work, they'd give me more work. All right. It's also it's dependent on how much work your driver has. Okay, if your driver has a lot of work, or let's say they have to do some kind of pickup that day by a certain time, then they will give you more work. Okay, guys. And I could pretty much handle everything that the driver gave me. Okay, guys. So I've been doing this for a long time. Okay, guys. So okay, so that's pretty much the end of my that's the peak season 2025 vlog. All right, I will see you guys in 2026. All right. And thank you guys that watched my videos. All right, guys. I know this time of year they're really popular, and I imagine next year lots of people will be watching this too. Okay. It's totally dependent on it's totally dependent on your location. All right, guys. I'll tell you that, man. And where you get put and all that stuff. All right. It's every year is different, and this year is no exception. Okay, guys. At least this year they told us when we're getting laid off. Okay, guys. So at least HadesOmega got some closure. All right. And this year they gave us our last paycheck. It's been a long time since I had a paper check. Okay, guys. That's how I got paid the first time I worked. You would go into the room, the center, the center like office or something, and they would have a little box with a bunch of checks in it, and then you would just go pick your check out of there. Okay, guys, that's what this reminds me of. Okay, guys, it's been a long time since I've got a check from UPS. All right, guys. So, but yeah, they were pretty clever. They were pretty clever the way they did it this year. Okay, guys, they held your check hostage. All right, basically. So I was like, all right, well, that's an incentive for me to go and pick it up, and I don't want that vest anyways, man. I got like 3 other ones, man. So that's okay. All right. Okay, so that's the end of the vlog. Thanks for watching. HadesOmega out. See you guys next year. All right, in peak season 2026 maybe. All right, we'll see. All right, HadesOmega out.